Shalom, welcome to Out of Africa Torah Session. My name is Tatra Cohen, and this week we are on the portion Shemini 8. Of course, this is coming from none other than the book of Vayikra, chapter 9, all the way to 11. A very interesting Torah portion with a rich lesson for you and I today, with universal truth that should be applicable in our lives. Now we find that there are these instructions which just come immediately, and they're given to Moshe, the servant of Hashem, and he should relay this information to Aaron and his sons, the Kohanim. Interestingly, we find when the people received this, there was action which was needed, and eventually people started now, offering, and when they did everything that was said they should, there was joy. People burst into joy, and it was a glorious moment of success for everyone. Now, on the other hand, the following chapter tells us that the sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, they too took the incense, unsanctioned incense, and they offered. And unfortunately, in that act, they were consumed with a flash of fire. This should have been, I don't know what kind of death that should have been. I don't know how you could classify such a death. But this should have not been, an easy sight where we could watch. It was a painful thing, a painful moment, especially for the family of the Kohanim. Not only that, the father himself was on duty, the high priest, the Kohen Gadol Aaron himself, the father to these two sons. Now, there are a lot of things which we are told concerning these sons and why this act happened. We are also told that these sons, they had now started, because they were Kohanim, and they had even passed their age of getting married because they had so much high regard of themselves. And when they looked at the daughters of Israel, they saw none was fit to be their wife. Well, apart from all this speculation, you may blame them, you may do whatever you do. But there is one thing which I want to communicate with you today. It's exactly the response which we find from Aaron, their father. The Torah tells us that Vaidom Aaron was silent. Imagine you just busy serving and you find your children, your sons actually for that matter, they're just consumed. And we are told now by our rabbis that the act of silence which Aaron did is actually contrary to being quiet. Being quiet sometimes means you have what to say, but you just decided not to say. But for Aaron, it's not that he wanted to say something and he did not say. But he became silent as a token of love, or as an expression of deep love, both for his God and for his two sons. Well, the rabbis goes on to tell us that this event would have led him probably to condemn God on having such a harsh judgment on the two children, on the two sons. Or else, this reaction would have led him to condemn the act which the children did, and made him actually think that this was an act of punishment. But instead, he was found or caught in between. He became silent, meaning he was not on the side to say God is judging them. He was also not on the side of blaming his sons. But what did he do? He became silent, Vaidom Aaron. In other words, he accepted what had happened. And our rabbis tells us that this should be the response of what you and I should have when we are faced with circumstances and situations which we fail to understand, which we fail to grasp, which we fail to even comprehend the meaning of whatever that may be. That's exactly what our father Aaron did. Now, my message to you is, I don't know what you may be going through. I don't know that which has just occurred to you. Is it a loss of your job? Is it a loss of your relative? Is it a loss of anything that is of value to you, of something that you regard? Instead of you trying to find why this tragedy has fallen upon you or anyone whom you love or anyone in the confines of your beloved ones. the right thing is to do what Aaron did, the act of love. Not blame God, not blame yourself. Well, sometimes we are to blame. But in this case, Aaron would have blamed the children. He would have blamed God. The rabbis even goes ahead to say, did this mean that the works of kindness that Aaron was involved in could not merit to save the children's life? Well, in any case, you may say whatever you may say. But mind you, this was not the nature of Aaron. Aaron was known to be the talkative. By the way, he was also the mouthpiece of Moses. But though he was the mouthpiece, in this case, he acted right. He became silent. No blaming God, no blaming children, no blaming anyone. And that is the lesson for today. No matter what you are going through, sometimes it's not worth it to put the blame on your living God. Sometimes it's not even worth it to put the blame on the people surrounding you, but to accept whatever is coming on your way. I like Job. He say, I came from my mother's womb naked. So shall I return? Adonai gives, Adonai takes. And that is the right spirit. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.